Hello everyone, this is Scott, and today I just wanted to tell you about one of the most annoying websites on the entire internet, and I want to give it to you as a warning to other webmasters who are trying to increase their web revenue. There are many ways you can try and increase your revenue. Adding new advertisements is a great way. Changing the locations is even better. Introducing new forms of advertisements, even such as those as Taboola, Outbrain, Enrelate, video ads, all those are great ways. Even having them on an auto refresh scale for websites that include lots of content, such as flash gaming websites or image websites, can greatly increase your revenue. However, if you do all of that and then put it on a website that requires navigation, you are going to piss off 90% of the population. Let me explain. Answers.com is a lovely Q&A website, sort of. You gotta have the biggest love-hate relationship with it ever. Answers.com is one of the most popular websites on the internet for questions and answers. You can go in, you could post a question, and you could get just about the answer for it within little to no real time. However, the site sucks for every other possible as a resource. Number one, it is so spammy with advertisements that it is probably one of the most poorly optimized and poorly written or coded websites that you can think of. Number one, while it does get its point across, it sucks for the navigation. For one, there's supposed to be content right here. If you check, you can inspect your element and slide type. If I go into my slide and then I go into the title, it's not loading the body. The body tag is empty. However, there's supposed to be content within the slide. It's not loading properly. In fact, if we want to do a GT matrix, when I come into the website, I'm getting 26 errors and 50 warnings due to the different advertisements and how confusing it is as it's trying to process all the ones that aren't loading. And when it gives such a hang time, it causes your website to end up annoying your users. So I'm going to perform a quick test. The GT matrix is the webmaster's tool to see how well their website performs. It compares against the YSlow and the Google page speed and gives you recommendations on how your website should be set up. While the page load time may not always be the most accurate, it is still a great indicator on what you need to do to optimize your website. And what I mean by not being accurate, on some pages it'll say it takes 20 plus seconds for it to load. Well, this isn't true. In 1 second, the website could give you all the content. But if things are being deferred and are loading at the end of the page like they properly should be, it's going to increase the load time. Not only that, but occasionally it has an issue with lazy loading of images to where it'll increase the page load time greatly. Let's see how Answers.com's article does on painfully awkward meet and greets. Keep in mind, this is one slide with an image and no content that was loaded properly. Or if there was no content. I remember refreshing it once and seeing content and then there wasn't. But let's just check. It's still analyzing. That's really bad. And it's still analyzing with page speed. Then it goes to the YSlow. Answers.com is really spammy. You can't tell. This advertisement is not meant for this box. Everything should be within your sidebar. In fact, if you notice, it's not actually within the sidebar, but it floats above in its own outside frame. It doesn't fit within it, and it was meant to, but the video ads do not, and that's where they get a lot of money, is from video ads. Not only that, but it's kind of funny that they give you sponsored content without any real sponsored links. Yeah, isn't that funny? This was... I mock... Oh, here we go. 36.67 seconds is what it says. While that's not the most accurate, the most concerning thing is the number of requests. 1,373 total requests on this one thing. And if I come over here, I'm getting over 1,000 cookies worth of requests from ad networks. That is completely unreasonable. Even on the most content-oriented site that I could think of, I've never had so many advertisements loaded within a small frame. Not only that, but if this is using AdSense ads, it's not technically within the AdSense terms of use policy, because these pages offer little to no content. However, if you pay attention, the ads are also, they're showing more than 4, which means that they're a premium AdSense publisher, which means that they do get some leniency due to how much the traffic they bring in. And they do bring in a lot of traffic through social media. Social media pages will say celebrity gossip, blah, 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 new skinny pills or stuff like that. Stupid and spammy stuff that just takes over your newsfeed as a form of advertisement, and it's really freaking ugly. This is one of the worst websites on the internet right now. Many reviews are in about this site, and many users can go to other websites and rate them, and they're all pretty much across the board saying this site sucks. Number 1, the couple of images on here, which are all from ad networks. And then you have Facebook. Facebook, what's this? Images, the Facebook images from this widget. And then you got Twitter. And then you got more comments. And I'm willing to bet that these comments probably come from Facebook. Let me see. Suzanne, I don't know. If I copy the image URL of this person, paste it, it's from Facebook. The comments are from Facebook. It's heavily integrated with Facebook and has a ton of advertisements. Therefore, the images do not have proper dimensions. That is somewhat excusable other than the poor advertisements. The redirects. The ad networks are redirecting like insane. Redirect chains, more redirect chains, and then graphs because their ads, because the Facebook pictures should be going to the Facebook profile HTTPS version because they're using an SSL, because they're using the Facebook SSL to connect to it. So they have redirects of every possible image. That's what's really slowing down the load time. This website has no concept of deferring or asynchronously loading JavaScript. Query strings are not that big of a deal, but it still could be fixed if they weren't using so many ad networks. And there's no consistency with these because they're using a lot of ad networks as opposed to ad serving platforms such as DoubleClick for Publisher. Or, there we go, 122 JavaScripts. JavaScript scripts. External JavaScript files, that's what I'm going to call it. What that simply means is that there's 122 JavaScript files on the websites that are being loaded. A browser can only load about 8 files. Was it 4 or was it 8 files upon load time? It loads those, then it goes to the next one. It loads them, then goes to the next one. That's just how the browsers are built currently, and it will increase over time, of course. But for now, that's what we're stuck at. Not only that, but these ad networks clearly don't know what gzip is, but we'll just move past that. Use a content delivery network. This simply means that the files are coming from a CDN, which is an external server that is handling their files, but that's not going to really work with ad networks, so that's somewhat excusable. Unfortunately, when you have so many links from ad networks, it just sucks. Cookie-free domains. 236 components that are not cookie-free. Generally, you'll see this on most websites relating to images. Images are generally not cookie unless they come from a CDN. Therefore, this one is excusable, except for the sheer amount of advertisements, once again. Your DNS lookups are the amount of servers that your browser talks to when it's loading. 5 components come from the actual Answers website. 13 more come from grfx Answer. It's a CDN on the Answers.com network, which they could be using better. And the rest is from external services. Let's go back to the page speed real quick. They did manage to minify their JavaScript. Good job. That took 10 minutes. Fonts are excusable from hindering your web load because they can be loaded from cache. I just have to say, Answers.com literally is the worst website that I could ever think of that people commonly use. We're gonna cut it off after this advertisement. We're gonna say this is the end of our post content. Of course, that isn't true because it's an infinitely loading screen of post. But we come here. Advertisement, 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 advertisement. 4 advertisements that are above the fold. 1 image. This is the actual content of the page. Then you have to go to a next one. Every time you go next, it reloads all the advertisements once again. Then you got scroll down, advertisement, 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 more ads, ads. I have no problem if a website has advertisements. Ad, ad, ad. If you use advertisements as honestly, here's the thing. I don't care if a website literally uses 1.5 million banner advertisements. You just can't do two things. It cannot interfere with my content, and it cannot affect the load time as heavy as this. Auto-playing video ads are the bane of the internet right now. What used to be pop-ups is now becoming them. Ad networks such as Undertone, which will show a full page loading screen, are becoming quite common, but they're not that big of a hindrance because they're faster than you would get as a pre-roll ad in a YouTube video. Pre-roll ads are generally they'll either be preload, they can skip within 5 seconds, or you can skip, or it'll automatically end after 15 seconds. No more, no less. But this network, this website just is completely filled with advertisements, which isn't bad by any means. I'm not condoning webmasters that use tons of advertisements. What I'm saying is you can't be using it in such a freaking distressful way. This thing needs help. Number one, things that they did well. They optimized their button. Their button here is different from the one here. Why? Because it's gray and it matches a grayish black, which matches the title. But that's not going to really increase their click-through rate much at all. Then there's an ad here. An ad here, and an ad here. It needs to remove all advertisements that autoplay videos, or it needs to scale them and make it to where they don't play audio. The advertisements that I don't find acceptable are this. While landing pages such as Forbes are annoying, I actually tolerate them, and I kind of find them interesting when they try to find ways for you to, like the quote. I actually find some of the quotes interesting because I will read them and then I'll want to look others up. While it can be a hindrance on your load time because Forbes is kind of a slower loading website, it still provides you something. And it's after 5 seconds. I will gladly wait 5 seconds for any website. But I don't like video ads. I don't like something that gives me audio. Yesterday, and I swear, I was just on my computer and I kept hearing noise, and it kept cutting in and out rapidly. And it would go like a sentence and then it would stop. Another sentence and it would stop. And I couldn't figure out what it was until I had to go through every page that I had loaded, and I tried to figure out, okay, I don't know what this is, so I just closed Chrome right away, thinking, okay, maybe there's something wrong with the browser. And sure enough, what was it? It was a website that was playing an audio video ad. If you're using games such as Flash games, which will have built-in ad networks, CPM Star, Epic Game Ads, Mochi Media when it was around, that's about it, would use auto-playing ads within their games, which is perfectly acceptable. That is not a problem. But when I'm on a website and I'm reading, well, reading is a strong term when this is just a bunch of images filled with advertisements, then it would be okay. This has no content. This website has zero valuable content. What it is it's the idea of BuzzFeed list. BuzzFeed did an ingenious idea with its listing, which you can get like cat pictures to actual hard-hitting news, and it does everything right. This is like BuzzFeed gone stupid. It does the list, which do great for conversions on social networks, but it is so utterly stupid with the way that it's just set up. It's too many ads. BuzzFeed gets away with no ads because they do sponsored content, where a company sponsors a post, they write it out, and then they put a link to them, or they have something in there that relates to the company. That I have no problem with. In fact, I actually enjoy sponsored content. Sometimes it actually gives me something useful. Generally, a company will provide me something useful that I may want to read. I don't care if they paid to put it there. This, on the other hand, is just stupid. It's a picture of some dude and ads. If anyone from answers.com actually bothers to read this, listen to this, and watch this, this needs to be fixed. If you want to have auto-playing ads, that's great. Remove the sound. If you want to have video ads, fit them to the sidebar. If they don't fit, get rid of them. Fairly simple. That is about all I have about relating to this topic. Thank you guys very much for watching. Tell me about how much you hate answers.com, because I can't really think of what person actually enjoys the website. But let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.